Good evening and welcome to a special bulletin here on the Angry Astronaut. This is not a topic that I really wanted to talk about very much, but a lot of my colleagues are discussing this. This whole issue is really heating up right now, and it's something that absolutely needs to be clarified, or at least I need to put in my 2 cents about it. Is Elon Musk lying about the so-called stranded astronauts on the ISS? For those of you who are unfamiliar with this, in a recent interview on Fox News, he and Donald Trump were talking about the astronauts who are currently on the ISS. We all know about their situation. Don't really need to go into detail about that, but just defining them as being stranded for political reasons. By the way, I'm just going to keep talking about all of this. I don't intend to edit this at all. This is just coming straight from the shoulder. And also, I'm going to share with you a posting that I made on X not that long ago. And then afterwards, Andreas Mogensen, who is an astronaut from the European Space Agency and was also at one time the commander of the International Space Station, accused Elon Musk of lying about this whole thing and saying that it was not a political decision and that going to get the astronauts didn't make sense, etc. And so Elon was seriously triggered by this. And by the way, this is something that he's made a couple of posts about this because other folks have also accused him of lying, and he continues to just rant about this in ways that I have never ranted before. His response to Andreas is that you are fully R word. By the way, I don't know why he likes that word so much. It's a word that I used, I guess, when I was in high school. Maybe in South Africa, that's something that folks use a little bit more commonly when they're adults. But man, I'll tell you, I haven't really heard that insult a lot since I was a teenager. But in any event, we'll keep going. SpaceX could have brought them back several months ago. I offered this directly to the Biden administration and they refused. Return was pushed back for political reasons. Idiot. Again, it's just really, really nasty and childish. But at the same time, he accused him of lying. I guess I can understand him being a little triggered over that. So here's the deal. Do I think that Elon Musk is indeed lying about this? Well, actually, no, I don't. I think instead, however, that he's being deceptive, that he is being misleading, because technically, yes, SpaceX could have brought Butch and Suni back months ago. Definitely. They have the capability. They just would have commissioned a special Crew Dragon mission, pulled a Crew Dragon out from its other duties with, for example, Axiom Space or something like that, and sent it up to grab the astronauts at a cost of probably at least $100 million to the taxpayers. So did that make any sense whatsoever? Well, if Suni Williams had been ill, as I thought she might have been at the time, then yeah, it might have made sense. However, she wasn't. I mean, that's really clear at this point. I'm going to go ahead and pull up this posting that I made on X here and go a little bit further into detail. So once again, about $100 million or so in taxpayer funds for a non-emergency reason. So politically, Joe Biden might have decided not to blow billions on a non-emergency mission, and I would have done the same. So again, is Elon lying here? Well, I think very possibly not. It's very possible that he might have approached Joe Biden and offered to send a special rescue mission up to the ISS instead of letting Butch and Suni simply assume the duties of astronauts who were supposed to be sent there anyway. And given the types of people that Butch and Suni are. That is to say, NASA astronauts who love being up in space, they were probably more than happy to accept those responsibilities and to stay in space. And actually, Suni Williams also got an opportunity to set a record for the longest duration spacewalk for a woman, or rather, the longest amount of time in space on spacewalks in human history for a female. I think she actually came in number 4 total overall for all astronauts doing spacewalks. Really super impressive. So they just took on the duties that these astronauts would have taken on otherwise. They had a Crew Dragon parked at the International Space Station that they could have used at any time to evacuate the station if necessary, although this probably would have required that the other 2 Americans on the station also depart, leaving no Americans on the station at all, which wouldn't be a good situation. So it was just a tough spot. Now, another alternative might have been to send the 2 astronauts back on the malfunctioning Starliner. And in the end, Boeing assured NASA that they would be able to bring those astronauts back safely on Starliner in spite of all the malfunctions. And in the end, it came back safely, although it had some more problems as it came back, but it did come back safely. But NASA decided not to roll the dice on that piece of garbage, Boeing Starliner. And that was probably the right decision as well. And the thing of it is, I think Elon Musk knows all of these things. I think he knows that it was the most expedient decision and the most logical decision to do things as it all turned out. The real problem, of course, has been the multiple delays that have been experienced in sending up the replacement for the astronauts that Butch and Suni assume their responsibilities for. That is to say, the next rotation of astronauts, at which point Butch and Suni will be free to return home. There have been multiple delays with that, primarily because of SpaceX, because there's a brand new Crew Dragon that was being built and engineered ready to go for this mission, and that was the ship that's supposed to bring up the Butch and Suni's replacements. And it's had multiple delays. They haven't been able to get it ready as rapidly as they thought. And actually, what's going on right now is NASA is swapping that Crew Dragon out for another one so that they can go and get them a bit sooner, a couple of weeks sooner, which probably a good decision at this point. But once again, that's on SpaceX that they weren't able to get that Crew Dragon ready. Not saying that SpaceX is responsible for all of this. They're definitely not. Boeing is responsible for the vast majority of this. But still, again, from where I'm sitting, and I think from where just about any reasonable person might be sitting, once you know all the facts, there's just no reason to have done this any differently than the way it all shook out. It's been bad. It's been embarrassing. And yeah, it could have gone a lot better. But was this done for political reasons? Well, maybe technically, because politically, Biden might have decided that spending $100 billion $100 million, $100 million on an unnecessary rescue mission probably wouldn't have been the best idea. I probably would have made the same call in his point, but otherwise, it's just being seriously misrepresented. And this nasty, nasty response is childish and uncalled for. And it reminds me, being a history major, of something that happened quite some time ago in American history. In 1954, there was a man named Joseph McCarthy, senator who was hunting for communists in America, convinced that communists had infiltrated America from top to bottom and had actually taken a department of Congress that was supposed to investigate waste and fraud. In other words, a department very similar to Elon Musk's Doge department, and instead used that department to look for communists. And when he started to investigate the Army hired a lawyer named Joseph Welsh to defend them. And there was a big public confrontation between McCarthy and Welsh that was caught on camera. And then finally, at the end of it, Joseph Welsh said the following: "Have you no sense of decency, sir?" Because McCarthy had shown very little decency over the last several months. Overnight, Joseph McCarthy's popularity plummeted because of this very astute comment that Welsh made at the time. You know, these days, I don't think it would go that way at all. I think Welsh would get hammered by 1,000 trolls online for saying something like, "Have you no sense of decency, sir?" And I'll tell you something. America is never going to be a great nation again until it becomes a decent nation again. Thanks very much for watching, and until next time, stay angry about space.